The restaurant buzzed with quiet elegance, the kind of place where crystal chandeliers reflected the wealth of the people dining beneath them. But in one corner, something far less elegant was about to happen. A wealthy CEO, famous for his arrogance, leaned back in his chair and smirked at the young black waitress standing beside him. "I'll bet $500,000, he said loudly, "that you can't even say a single word in Chinese." The guests around him laughed, but the waitress didn't flinch. Her eyes met his with calm fire, the kind that hides a storm. What no one knew was that this moment would expose who truly held the power in that room. The waitress's name was Amara, a calm soul, with eyes that carried both warmth and quiet strength. She'd worked at La Vera, one of the city's most expensive restaurants, for nearly 2 years. Most customers treated her kindly, but some came not to be served, but to feel superior. And tonight, one of those people sat right before her. Richard Halden, a tech CEO whose arrogance could fill a room, had been boasting about his global business trips and understanding of other cultures. When Amara politely corrected him on how to pronounce a Chinese dish, his pride snapped. That's when he made his infamous bet, $500,000 if she could say anything authentically Chinese. The table erupted in laughter. The room grew heavier, the sound of forks halting mid-air. Amara stood frozen for a heartbeat, not from fear, but from disbelief. She had faced ignorance before, but this was public humiliation, disguised as entertainment. Still, she smiled softly. With steady composure, she asked, "Would you like Mandarin or Cantonese?" The laughter stopped. Richard blinked. Then, with grace and confidence, Amara began to speak. Her words flowed like music, fluent Mandarin, rich with tone and emotion. She didn't just say a few words. She recited a Confucian proverb that translated to, "The wise man learns from every person, even the ones who mock him." The restaurant fell silent. The other guests, once amused, now watched in awe. One whispered, "She's fluent." Another murmured, "That accent, it's perfect." Richard's smirk faded, replaced by embarrassment he couldn't hide. His assistant, a Chinese-American woman, confirmed, "She's flawless. Every tone, every word." Amara nodded politely, set down his drink and said, "Will that be cash or card for the $500,000? The room erupted, not in laughter, but applause. Even the pianist paused to clap. Later that night, as the crowd dispersed, Richard approached her quietly. His voice, stripped of pride, trembled. "Where did you learn that?" Amara smiled. "Beijing University. I studied linguistics before moving here to help my mother." He looked at her for a long moment, then said softly, "I owe you more than a bet. I owe you an apology." She didn't gloat. She simply replied, "Respect doesn't cost money, sir. It just takes humility." From the moment the CEO placed his arrogant bet, tension gripped the room. But the story's rhythm never let it go. Viewers are drawn first by curiosity. Why would he humiliate her? What will she do next? That question fuels every second of the unfolding drama. As the camera lingers on Amara's quiet expression, the audience senses her composure, but they don't yet know her power. The subtle curiosity loop is set. What secret is she hiding? When she finally asks, "Mandarin or Cantonese?" the story spikes. That moment flips the energy from humiliation to anticipation. The script then plays with emotional contrasts, the cold arrogance of wealth versus the quiet grace of dignity. The viewers swing between frustration and hope. They want to see her stand tall, yet they fear the situation might escalate. That tension sustains emotional investment. Each beat is written with suspense rhythm, short moments of silence, small reactions, and pauses that build anticipation before every reveal. Instead of rushing to the payoff, the story lets the audience feel the discomfort of prejudice, the tension of silence, and the power of intelligence breaking through ignorance. When Amara finally speaks Mandarin, the emotional pendulum swings again. Shock replaces laughter, admiration replaces mockery. The audience experiences a rush of satisfaction, the same emotional payoff that fuels rewatches and shares. Even after the main conflict ends, the curiosity doesn't die, it deepens. Who is this woman really? Why did she hide her brilliance? When we learn that she once studied linguistics at Beijing University, the story transforms from revenge to redemption, and compassion triumphs over pride. The pacing closes the loop perfectly. Every emotion that was opened gets resolved. The ending line, "Respect doesn't cost money, sir. It just takes humility," delivers closure, peace, and moral satisfaction, all essential for high average view duration and strong emotional recall. When Amara left the restaurant that night, the city lights shimmered across the pavement like tiny stars, quiet witnesses to what had just unfolded. She didn't take pride in humiliating a man who once mocked her. She simply felt peace. Her victory wasn't in proving him wrong, but in proving that grace speaks louder than arrogance. The next morning, the story went viral, not because of the $500,000 bet, but because of what people saw in her. Dignity without anger, power without ego. Comments flooded social media. Some praised her intelligence, others admitted they saw themselves in Richard's arrogance. For the first time, he saw himself too. A week later, he returned to La Vera, not as a CEO flaunting wealth, but as a man seeking understanding. He waited for Amara to finish her shift. "You taught me something I didn't know I needed to learn," he said quietly. "That language isn't just words, it's respect." Amara smiled, then replied, "And respect is the only language that doesn't need translation." That night, Richard donated $500,000, not to Amara, but to fund scholarships for underprivileged students studying languages and culture. Her lesson had rippled far beyond that elegant dining room, because in a world quick to judge and slow to listen, compassion is the rarest fluency of all. True intelligence isn't just about what you know. It's about how you treat those you underestimate. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes kindness is strength. The more we understand each other, the brighter this world becomes. As Amara walked out into the cool night air, she didn't think about the applause or the headlines. She thought about how easily people forget that every soul carries unseen depth. She had turned humiliation into humility, ignorance into awareness, and pride into purpose, not with anger, but with quiet strength. And maybe that's the real message, that the loudest lessons aren't shouted, they're lived. Kindness doesn't mean weakness. True strength is staying graceful when the world expects you to break. If this story moved you, share it. Someone out there might need to be reminded that respect and empathy never go out of style. Subscribe for more stories that awaken compassion, reveal hidden strength, and remind us that humanity still shines brightest in the darkest moments.